Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Nerdy Movie News Roundup, the show where we round up all of the latest news in the world of movies. I haven't been streaming in a while. Basically, the reason why is because I've been trying to get through my last semester of college, and things just got really busy. Just to be real with you, it's not even necessarily that I didn't have time, because if I really wanted to, I probably could have squeezed doing this show into all of it, but I just wasn't in the right headspace. But I'm officially done, and I'm back with the show, and it's going to be going on, hopefully, for uninterrupted for at least a good while. But yeah, enough of that. Let's get into our first segment, which is talking about all the trailers that released this week. Okay, so first we got another trailer for Peacemaker. This is, of course, the character that was in the Suicide Squad movie that came out, and I think the show continues to look good. I still I haven't been super amazed by any of these trailers, but I continue to be interested in the show. I think John Cena is actually pretty good in this role. He's never really impressed me too much with any of his performances, but I actually thought he was pretty good in the Suicide Squad, and he had to deliver some genuine emotional scenes, and it was good. The show looks bonkers. I will say, aesthetically, it definitely looks like a TV show. It doesn't look cinematic or anything, but that's not necessarily the worst thing in the world. I think the action looks bonkers. When John Cena is in his underwear and he's fighting that lady, and she's throwing him through the wall. It looks insane, and I think this is probably going to be good. I mean, it's James Gunn, so it's probably going to be good, and it's probably going to be bonkers, and hopefully he brings, the heart and emotion that he's usually able to interweave into this stuff. So, excited to see it. Moving on to the next trailer. We also got a trailer for Superman and Lois Season 2. I really liked Superman and Lois Season 1. I was I just kind of dipped off of the CW Arrowverse. I didn't even necessarily hate any of the shows. I just kind of there were way too many of them, and they were not good enough to keep my interest. And I kind of had this mentality of I need to watch all of them or I watch none of them. But then, I don't know, I started watching some of the trailers for Superman and Lois the first season. I was like, this actually looks pretty good. And then I checked out the show and I was like, oh wow, this is really good. And I haven't gone back to any of the other shows, but I guess I'll probably just keep up with Superman and Lois. Hopefully they don't tie into to any of the other CW shows. They probably will, but hopefully I can just watch this and not pay attention to anything else. But yeah, the second trailer for season 2 looks good. It looks like we're gonna see Superman struggle with the government wanting him to just to side with the government on, I guess, foreign issues, and him being no, I don't work for the government, I work for the world. I'm a hero of the world, not just of America. So that's gonna potentially be an interesting storyline. He seems to have trouble controlling his powers in some of the moments in the trailer. There's some tension between him and Lois. For some reason there is tension between the guy, what was it? Was it Lex Luthor, the guy from the other dimension? I think he was Lex Luthor, right? There's tension between him and his daughter for whatever reason. I guess his daughter doesn't want him fighting with Superman. I don't know. Stuff there. It looks good. Interested to continue watching this show. I will say, the show, the first season, it was really good, and then it kind of went on for 3 episodes too long, where I was this is going on too long. This should have been a 10-episode show or season, and I hope that doesn't happen with season 2. I hope they're able to tell the story a bit better. But yeah, okay. The next trailer we got, actually now we're going to go through a bunch of trailers from the Game Awards last night. I'm not going to talk about everything that they announced or that they showed off. I'm only going to be talking about stuff that either relates to this film and television show or just stuff that I'm personally interested in. So there's that. Okay, so we saw a teaser of Halo. Um, and I did not think it looked very good. No offense to you if you liked it. You know, if you're a Halo stan and you were really excited about this, I don't really know much about Halo. I only played Halo Reach, and I started Halo 1 and then kind of fell off. I've been meaning to get back to it. Um but and here's the thing about Halo Reach and Halo 1 at least. I don't really know I didn't really understand the story of Halo Reach. Like it was just like, okay, there's a space war. I guess I didn't know why there was a war or anything like that. And maybe I'm just dumb and I like maybe they like explained it and I was just like wasn't really paying attention. That's possible, I guess, but I was mostly just playing that game because it was fun to play. Like I wasn't exactly compelled by the story. So, yeah, like I'm not even inherently into Halo. So then I go into this trailer, I'm like, "Okay, sell me on Halo." I watched this trailer. I still don't really know what the story of Halo is. I don't know why they're fighting these wars. And to be fair, this was a teaser. There wasn't any dialogue or anything. It was really just showing you shots of, I guess, stuff that Halo fans would recognize. But yeah, for me personally, seeing Master Chief isn't enough to get me excited. Um, there was some close-up shots of, I guess, characters, but they didn't say anything. I don't know. It wasn't a very good trailer in my opinion, but I'm still interested in the show. Hopefully they release like an official trailer. You know, this was a teaser that kind of explains what's going on in the show, what the conflicts are. You know, I don't know. Oh yeah, and also just visually, it looked a bit cheap. Like I'm not gonna lie, there were some shots where I'm like, this kind of looks like a fan film. Like I'm just being honest, and maybe it's just because it needs better like color correction or something. But there was, I mean, like I would say like the wide shots of like the areas actually look quite good. Like the wide shots of like space, where you see like a space station or whatever, like that looks quite good. But then you just get like shots that are like, you know, just obviously like on sets, and I don't know, it was lacking a bit. But hopefully the show's good. We'll see. Okay, our next trailer was for Sonic 2. I did not see the first Sonic movie, and I thought this sure did look like a Sonic trailer. It's not some. It doesn't look like it's really for me. Maybe I'll get around to watching the first one at some point, but this looked like more Sonic. I imagine that if you like the first Sonic, you probably like this trailer. I would never watched Sonic, nor did I think the trailers for the first Sonic looked any good. And I don't think this really looks any good either. Like, it doesn't even look good from like a, oh, look, it's so bad it's good perspective. It just kind of looks, I don't know, like a Sonic movie. But yeah, the next trailer we got was for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. We finally got to see some gameplay. Like, we've been, like, at least I've been kind of assuming that this was going to be like a third-person shooter, but they never confirmed that anywhere. Like, we've just been kind of assuming that, right? Like, we didn't know exactly what this game was, and so we're finally getting some gameplay, and I think it looks good. Like it seems like there's going to be a heavy emphasis on shooting and maneuverability. So like King Shark, you know, he's like a heavy character. He has like a machine gun, but he can also like leap, like jump really high. So that looks like it's going to be a ton of fun. Harley Quinn has like a hook shot thing that she can use to get around. Deadshot has like a jetpack that he can fly around, and then it seems like Captain Boomerang, he's going to be like using the Speed Force to what's effectively going to be teleportation. And it honestly, yeah, it looks fun. I mean, from what we saw, I will say like it doesn't look as polished, I guess, maybe. I don't know if that's the right word, or like as tight of gameplay as we saw in the Arkham games. And I wonder if part of that is just due to the fact that it's hard to do that in a multiplayer game. Like it's a lot easier to like polish gameplay to the degree that they do in their single player Batman games. Which I mean that has just been my worry ever since like they announced, and maybe they didn't announce, but people have been speculating that that this is going to be a online persistent game. Again, I really hope it's not. Like, I hope it's not like the Avengers. I hope it's, it's a game that you can play co-op, like with the Halo Infinite campaign. as like a good example. But either way, this gameplay looked good to me, and I remain cautiously optimistic about this game. Because I mean, from a story perspective, and as far as the way the characterizations of all the characters are, it still looks awesome. And like I picked this picture here where it looks like the Flash is doing like a Kamehameha wave. I don't know what that's all about. You can't see like the larger picture, but it's of like Captain Boomerang. He's kind of like jumping at the Flash, and the Flash is making a Kamehameha wave. But yeah, that actually remains also like just one of the questions that I have about this game, where I'm like, okay, literally like the Flash for example, but the same goes for like anybody else on the Justice League. I feel like any of them could take out the Suicide Squad in like 10 seconds, like on their own. I don't really understand. And like, yeah, like even in this trailer, like we see them fighting the Flash, and the Flash isn't like proactively taking them out. He's just kind of dodging their attacks. And I'm like, the Flash could take them all out like instantly. And I don't really understand why he doesn't do that. I don't know. Maybe they'll have some explanation for it in the game, or maybe it's just something that you're gonna have to accept, which I'm willing to do. Like, I'm willing to overlook that fact just for the sake of the game to happen. But yeah, that is one of my questions going into it. Like, why isn't the Justice League just taking them out instantly? But yeah, we'll see. The next trailer they showed off was for Horizon Forbidden West. Yeah, it was a gameplay trailer. It was more of what we've seen before, but it still looks really good. I think the most interesting part was like of the snake robot, which looks awesome. Like I really like the idea of fighting a giant snake. And yeah, unfortunately, I don't have a PlayStation console. I played the first game on PC, so this is very upsetting to me because I can't even really like get a PS5, and it looks like we're not going to be able to get a PS5 for like an entire other year. And then it's like, I don't want to get a PS4 because at some point, I'm assuming relatively soon, we're not going to be like, they're going to stop being cross generation, and then I'm going to be screwed. I don't know what to do. I guess I'll just wait for Horizon Forbidden West to come out on PC in like 5 years. I don't know. So yeah, I don't know. This game looks cool though. I really love the first game. And I'm sure this game is going to be great as well. The other trailer that I saw was for Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. I think this game looks awesome. I never played the first game, but this was like one of those games that just looked striking to me. Now I am suspicious about it because they said it was a gameplay trailer. I am dubious that it is actually gameplay. It looks like, not only does it look amazing, but it feels like it's transitioning between cutscene and gameplay too well for me to really believe it. But the thing is as well is that from what I understand, the first game was like more of an experience than it was like a game per se, where like apparently the gameplay in the first one wasn't, it was, from what I understand, I don't know, maybe I'm like misunderstanding people or like things that I heard, but it's more of like an experiential thing. Like there is combat and there is gameplay, but that's like secondary. So maybe what we see here is the case where it's like, you're running around and it'll switch to a cutscene so that you can kind of looks around, and then it kind of puts you back into gameplay, which is minimal, and maybe that's just what the game is. But I don't know. Either way, this looks really cool, and I think it's an Xbox game technically, because I think Xbox bought the studio that makes this, because I mean it said it was going to be on Game Pass, so that'll be fun. Okay, the next trailer they showed was for the Expanse video game that Telltale Games is making, which is weird. But yeah, I have not seen the Expanse, so I can't say that I'm personally excited for it, but I know that the Expanse, I've heard it's really good, so I'll probably watch it at some point, and I imagine that people that like the Expanse are probably excited for this as well. And okay, so this next thing is the biggest surprise by far to me. There's a Wonder Woman game happening, apparently. Yeah, this was like the biggest surprise to me for sure. Like I was not expecting for this to be a thing at all. And it didn't get leaked, which is kind of surprising. But yeah, I it sounds cool. So they actually did come out and talk a little bit about what the game is actually going to be like. So this is a quote from like the vice president of WB Games. At Monolith Productions, we believe in the power of player-driven storytelling to unite people. The stories our players share inspire us every day, and we are honored to take players on a unique personal journey driven by the values embodied in Wonder Woman. The Nemesis system raised the bar for player-driven storytelling, and we're excited to push the open-world genre forward, combining cutting-edge action with inventive narratives to create a Wonder Woman game everyone will want to play. So that's confirmation right there that this will be using the Nemesis system as well as it being an open world game. Now I'll be honest, I'm kind of not too like, I don't know, I'm kind of over the open world genre a bit. It's like, I don't know, whenever I play one, I always have to like fight the urge to like do everything. Because if I try to do everything that the game offers, then I just end up getting burnt out. And it's like when it's like Ubisoft open world games where like where like where it's just it gives you all of the objectives and it gives you a million pointers on the map. It's a lot harder to just go, no, I'm not going to do that, because I don't know, I get like the completionist in me wanting to do it all. So yeah, it's like hopefully this ends up being a better example of an open world game that isn't just pushing all that stuff in your head and just kind of letting you experience the world a bit. And I mean, either way, even if it is one of those like Ubisoft open world games, it being Wonder Woman is probably going to draw me in anyway. But yeah, so as far as the Nemesis system is concerned, I never played the Shadow of War games, but from what I understand, it basically makes the world feel a bit more alive. Like I think like an example that kind of explains what it is like, I think if you like steal something from a character and then you meet up with that character again later on in the game, I think he like remembers what you did to him. Something like that. It's like some cool thing like that where the characters in the world like remember you and remember actions that you've done. So all that stuff is exciting. I wonder like, where's this game going to take place? Like, is it going to take place in Themyscira? Because that would make sense for it being an open world. Or is it going to take place like in a city, like in the modern day? I don't really know, but I'll be interested to see more of this game, you know, when they have stuff to show off. I imagine it's like very early in development. Like we literally just saw like renders of Wonder Woman. That was the entire trailer. But yeah, it's exciting to see that this game is a thing, and we'll learn about it at some point down the line. Okay. Next up, we got a trailer for Star Wars Eclipse. This looked cool. So this trailer was basically all cinematics of like Star Wars stuff. But it looked really cool. Apparently this is going to take place in the High Republic era of Star Wars, which is something that they've been exploring in like books and comic books, but they haven't really made their way into movies or TV shows yet. So I haven't personally consumed anything in the High Republic era, but this will probably be the first one. And I think it looks cool. It's being developed by Quantic Dreams, and that's interesting to me because they usually make like kind of like games like the Telltale games where they're very narrative driven, very limited in gameplay. And I wonder if they're going to bring that to Star Wars, which I think would actually be pretty interesting. Or if now that they're making a Star Wars game, maybe they're going to implement more like action gameplay into their games. And it's not just going to be like QTEs when you're fighting somebody. Yeah, I'm definitely interested in this. We don't really know exactly like who the protagonists are. There was a close-up of this lady. Is she the protagonist? I don't know. Or is it, or maybe this is going to be a game that like follows multiple people? Because I think Detroit Become Human was one of those games where you followed like 3 different characters. Maybe this is what this is going to be, and that would be interesting. Like maybe you'll follow a Jedi, and then maybe you'll follow like a bounty hunter, and then maybe you'll follow Maybe you'll follow like a person, like a government, like a politician, and you're just sitting in on the meetings or whatever. Um, but yeah, it looks cool. It looks beautiful, and I'll be interested to see more of it. Okay, so another trailer that showed on the Game Awards was for Sonic Frontiers, which is basically Breath of the Wild but Sonic. uh, like literally, if you go watch the trailers, it just looks like Breath of the Wild. And here's the thing: this game, it's gonna be really easy to make fun of this game, but I actually think that an open world and I was just talking about how I don't really want open world games anymore, but I honestly think that an open world might be the best thing for Sonic, right? Because my main problem with Sonic games is that it is always incredibly easy to lose your momentum. And there's nothing more they're just not fun to play to me. Like the vast majority of them, if I'm being honest. And I actually think that with like if you have like wide open spaces to roam around in, that's probably gonna be like really good for Sonic. So yeah, like by the way, if you never played the Pathless, that is in my opinion like maybe the only good Sonic game that exists, and it's not a Sonic game. But I was like playing that game and almost because that game is all about momentum and not stopping. I'm like, make a Sonic game like this, and you might have something on your hands. It looks like this might be it. So, yeah, I'm honestly like kind of looking forward to this. Okay. Next up, we finally got Cuphead DLC, and it's confirmed to be coming out on June 30th. And yeah, it looks like this is going to be more Cuphead. I absolutely adored Cuphead. It's really hard but forgiving. The art style is gorgeous. The music is fantastic. I'm absolutely looking forward to this for sure. Yeah, so that's about it for the Game Awards. I do want to talk about one other trailer, and that is for Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. So this they call it like a first look because it looks like it's a scene from the movie where like Gwen is, she meets up with Miles, like, and it looks like it takes place like right after the end of the first movie. And the only weird thing though is that they look older, so it looks like time has passed. And I'm trying to remember, did he look older at the end of the first movie? I honestly don't remember, but either way, Gwen comes down from a portal and immediately really strong writing, really strong performances. Love the chemistry between Miles and Gwen. And then it kind of transitions into this thing where Miles, he's like dropping into another universe, and the art style looks crazy. It kind of looks like it's in India or something, and Miles is swinging, and then Spider-Man 2099 comes in and he starts fighting him. I think that's really interesting. I don't know much about Spider-Man 2099 aside from playing as him in Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions, which first Spider-Verse thing, never forget Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions. That was a good game. But yeah, so I think it's weird that he's fighting Miles. I wonder why that's going on. But yeah, animation looks incredible. Writing still great. Voice acting still great. Cannot wait for this movie. But now, transitioning into our first story is for Spider-Man. There's another thing for Across the Spider-Verse. So it's coming from Entertainment Weekly. Miles' story is an epic, the pair said. We wrote that we thought the story needed to be, and to our surprise, we've realized it was 2 movies instead of 1. We're working on them both as we speak. Part 2 will be out sometime in 2023. So this basically confirms that, because the first one is part 1, and then part 2 will be coming out just a year later, which I think is cool. I hope. I mean, I honestly that probably means that it probably will justify its part 2. Like, because I was wondering, like, is it really going to be like parts 1 and 2, or is it just going to be the next Spider-Verse movie, right? Where like you could have just said it was the 3rd movie, right? But yeah, I think it's cool. Honestly, kind of looking forward to this more than No Way Home. Next story. Matrix 1. Oh, they showed some Matrix stuff at the Game Awards. Totally forgot. It was fine. it's whatever. But the story has to do with the fact it's coming from the Hollywood Reporter that Matrix is coming out in China a month later. So it says, after getting the green light from local censors in late November, Warner Brothers / Village Roadshow's The Matrix Resurrections has finally secured its official release date. The film will open in the world's largest theatrical market on January 14th, 2022. The Keanu Reeves starring franchise revival rolls out domestically on December 16th and hits most major theatrical markets throughout the Christmas corridor. But it also goes live on HBO Max in the US on December 22nd, making piracy a major concern for its China earnings. So, yeah, this is just important to note because when The Matrix comes out and we start talking about its box office, it's going to be important to note that it has not come out in China. Okay. Next story. There's going to be a Metal Men animated movie, apparently. This is coming from The Hollywood Reporter. Animation legends Ron Clements and John Musker, the acclaimed team that spent decades at Disney making movies such as The Little Mermaid, Aladdin, and The Princess and the Frog, are headed to DC. The duo have teamed up with Celeste Ballard, a writer who worked on Space Jam: A New Legacy, to tackle the animated feature The Metal Men. Warner Animation Group is the home of the project, which is based on the longtime DC property. So, I don't really know anything about Metal Men, but something tells me that this is going to be, I don't know, I just get the feeling that this is going to be more of a Big Hero 6 situation, where Big Hero 6 was technically a Marvel movie, but it didn't really present itself as one. And I have a feeling that that's going to be kind of the same thing with this movie, where it's going to technically be a DC movie, but it's not going to present itself like a comic book movie. It's just going to present itself like an animated movie. I don't know why. That's just kind of the feeling that I get. Because, I mean, it's like when you look at that DC League of Super Pets, it's not really like connecting itself with the DCEU. It's just kind of presenting itself as an animated movie. So that's kind of what I think this is going to be, but I mean, we'll see. But yeah, I don't know anything about Metal Men personally, so it is what it is. Next story. Destin Daniel Cretin, he has signed a deal to make more stuff with Marvel and Disney. So this is coming from Variety. A sequel to Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings is officially on the way, with Destin Daniel Cretin returning to direct and write. He's also in development on a Marvel series for Disney+. Cretin has signed an exclusive multi-year overall deal with Marvel Studios and Hulu's Onyx Collective. The new deal will allow Cretin to develop TV projects for both Marvel Studios on Disney Plus and the Onyx Collective for Hulu and other platforms. So, no brainer that we're going to get another Shang-Chi. But yeah, and he's also going to be making a Marvel show. People have been kind of wondering, maybe it's going to follow his sister, because she was shown to take over the clan or whatever in the post-credit scene. And that's a good guess. That maybe she's going to get her own show. But it's not necessarily going to be that. It might not even be related to Shang-Chi at all, really. It could be a totally other thing. So we'll just have to see whatever this ends up being. Okay. Our next story has to do with the Penguin show that is going to spin off from the Batman. Okay. It's coming from Variety. Colin Farrell has officially signed on to star in and executive produce a series spin-off of The Batman, in which he would again play the Penguin. Variety has learned exclusively from sources. Farrell will first portray the villainous character in The Batman, starring Robert Pattinson, which is due to be released on March 4th, 2022. The series would then reportedly delve into the Penguin's rise to power in the Gotham criminal underworld. Variety first reported the series was in development back in September, though Farrell was not attached at that time. Cool. I'm not gonna lie. I would have never I would have never initially been, I really need a Penguin spin-off show. I get flashbacks to that Gotham show that was on Fox, and I was like, I don't necessarily need more of that, and I kind of feel the same way about that JCPD show. But yeah, overall, it's just I don't know. It's initially they were okay, Batman, it's a spin-off thing, not in the DCEU. And I feel it's weird that they're trying to have their DCEU and then a separate The Batman universe. I don't know, it's just kind of weird to me. It seems all of this DC stuff is getting a bit bloated at this point. But I mean, listen, if this is a good show, it's a good show. Still incredibly excited for the Batman. We'll see what it ends up being. Okay. Our next story has to do with the boys having spin-off shows, talking about spin-off shows and potentially overbloating franchises. It's coming from Variety. Amazon Prime Video has announced an 8-episode pickup of Diabolical, an animated anthology series set in the same universe as the streamer's hit superhero show, The Boys. Diabolical features a slew of writing talent from across the entertainment industry, with episodes featuring stories by Awkwafina, Garth Ennis, Elliot and Alana Glazer, Simon Rasiopa, Justin Roiland, and Ben Bayuth, Andy Samberg, and Aisha Tyler. Rogan and Goldberg also serve as writers. Cool, I guess. It'll be interesting to see if this follows like characters that we know, or if it's just going to be like new stories just set in the world of the boys. Yeah, hopefully we'll get some interesting stuff out of this. Probably not going to be anything that like heavily pertains to like the main show or that like spin-off show. But hopefully it's just good content either way. Okay, next up. Kevin Feige has officially confirmed that Charlie Cox will be playing Daredevil in the MCU. So this is coming from Deadline. If you were to see Daredevil in upcoming things, Charlie Cox, yes, would be the actor playing Daredevil, Feige told CinemaBlend. Where we see that, how we see that, when we see that, remains to be seen. So, I mean, yeah. It was a bit underwhelming to hear this because I was kind of hoping to watch No Way Home and then not be surprised because, you know, obviously this has been speculated, but have that moment of like, yeah, oh my gosh, it was right. Charlie Cox is playing Daredevil in the MCU. So, I mean, I guess we technically don't know for sure that he's going to be playing it in No Way Home, but he is going to be playing it in the MCU. So, there is that. Okay. So now speaking of No Way Home, let's just move on to our last story. And that is that Spider-Man No Way Home doesn't have a Chinese release date as of yet. And so this is coming from the Hollywood Reporter. Okay, I don't have that set up with like the article text. Okay. Either way, at this point, Spider-Man doesn't have a release date, and it looks like it might not end up getting one. And this is actually like pretty important news because I don't think that Shang-Chi or Eternals either have been released in China. And just for context, like the Chinese box office is incredibly important. Like it is the second biggest movie market. It might be the first. I'm actually not sure, but like your movie, if you're making a big budget movie and it's not releasing in China, like that is not good news for your movie. So yeah, this is like, look, here's the thing. Spider-Man No Way Home is definitely going to be massive, no doubt. It's probably even going to cross the $1 billion mark either way. Yeah, sorry. Somebody came in to talk to me. But yeah, no, it is that market is incredibly important. So when this movie comes out, that's again much like with The Matrix, you're gonna have to, when we talk about box office, it's gonna be taken into account that it didn't release in China. But I mean, yeah, it's gonna be good. I don't know if it's gonna be good, but it's gonna be massively successful. But just know that however much money it ends up making, you probably could have added on another $200-300 million to that total. But anyways, that is actually going to be it for this episode of Nerdy Movie News Roundup. Let me know what you thought about any and all of these news stories. What do you think of the trailers, the Game Awards, or should I say the game advertisements? I didn't really mention it at first, but yeah, that... And honestly, like, it's kind of this weird thing because it's like we all know that the Game Awards at the end of the day, everyone's just watching it to watch the trailers. But it's still one of those things when you're watching it, it's like, man, that's really all the show is. Like, there's barely any award stuff in here. But yeah, either way, what did you think of any of all of these new stories? And let me know in the comments down below.